Tonight on News 5 Live, controversy in the sugar belt. BSI objects to new regulations imposed by government. In the South, the citrus industry is on a lifeline. The Ministry of Health and Wellness condemns alleged sexual assault by radiologists in the South. And on tonight's episode of Culture Tuesday, the Lebeha drummers prepare for their sophomore release. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Sign up for a Smart Share Plan and save big. Whether you're a small entrepreneur starting up your business, a student on a limited budget, or a family trying to save, this is the plan for you. With unlimited SMS, calls, and data, we help you save. Get up to 5 lines for as low as $30 per line monthly, only with Smart. Sign up today at any Smart showroom or sales manager countrywide. So get your business going, share more memories with friends, and be ready for the day with Smart.
It's that time of the year when we honor our moms and show them how much we love and appreciate them. Visit us at Cellular World and we can help you find a great gift for her with our Mother's Day steals and heartfelt deals. Show your love in a special way with our crazy discounts on great gift options so you can spoil your mom without breaking the bank. From luxurious tech products to stylish and affordable accessories. Budget phones as low as $59. Tablets start at only $149. Speakers as low as $45. TVs start at only $519. And laptops and Chromebook for only $499. Wireless chargers, smartwatches, accessories, and so much more. Visit us at any of our 5 locations in Belize City, Belmopan, and San Pedro. Or shop via our virtual store on Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp at 615-5141. Shop with us to find the perfect gift that will make your mom feel extra special.
You have been a safe driver all your life when an unavoidable accident happens. But this does not mean that your insurance premium must increase. With RF&G's Accident Forgiveness Program, safe drivers will not lose their no-claims discounts because of those minor, unavoidable accidents. For more information on RF&G's Accident Forgiveness Program, contact us at 223-5734. When it comes to motor insurance, it pays to get it right with RF&G Insurance, a Road Group company.
Here's your chance. The stage is waiting. We're looking for talented Belizean singers for another season of KTV The Remix. KTV auditions will take place on Saturday, June 3rd and Sunday, June 11th, starting at 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at Channel 5 on Coney Drive in Belize City. We're also now accepting online submissions. 2-minute videos can be emailed to producer at channel5belize.com or DM KTV Remix on Facebook. Deadline, Sunday, June 11th at 5 p.m. Come be a part of the biggest singing competition of the year. KTV The Remix, only on Channel 5.
Investment Services Explained. In September 1999, SSB's Mortgage and Investment Unit was created. The unit later became the Investment Department in 2005 and officially Investment Services in October 2007. So, what is the Investment Services role? How does Investment Services help to support Social Security and you? And why is Investment Services important to Belize? Investment Services' function is to make prudent investments in the form of commercial loans, shares, and real estate development. The interest income generated from these investments ensures the fund is sustainable to pay current and future Social Security benefits to its insured persons. The investment income is used to support the working population and pay pensions such as retirement and invalidity. Additionally, investment loans support economic development through commercial loans to startup and existing businesses while aiding in increased production of goods and services. We can expect investment services to continuously impact the lives of every insured person through Social Security pensions. Investment services will continue to support the Belizean economy through secure investments in various industries. And that is why investment services exists. Social Security Board, an investment for you, your family, your future.
Tour guides, your renewal season is coming up. Please be advised that all tour guide license expires on July 31st, 2023. BTB will start accepting applications for renewal starting May 1st, 2023. Tour guides, we're asking you to apply early in order to have a new and valid license before the current one expires. To submit via email, you'll need a clear scan of each document in PDF format and properly named and labeled. Send your application with all supporting documents to tourguide@belizetourismboard.org and include your full name and your tour guide license number in the subject line of the email. Remember to fill out your applications correctly, as BTB will no longer be accepting incomplete applications. Contact our licensing officers at 227-2420 and press 1 if you have any questions or concerns.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Tuesday, May 16th. I am Sabrina Daly. The Sugar Industry Control Board has green-lighted a new set of regulations that will require persons to hold a valid license if they wish to import or export sugar out of Belize. Those new requirements have raised the ire of the miller as well as caneros in the north. ASR BSI is not required to hold a license to export sugar from Belize. However, the company has issued a release stating that the proposed legislation is retrograde, unnecessary, burdensome, and discriminatory. BSI says it has written to the Ministry of Agriculture and the government of Belize, informing them of its views on the regulations. News 5 has obtained a copy of the proposed sugar industry license to import-export regulations 2023. The regulations outline a list of information that an applicant must disclose, including the amount of certified sugar or other derivatives of sugarcane contracted to be sold for each transaction of exporting sugar, as well as any premiums or benefits due to each certified producer. According to the document, the minister or any such persons appointed by him may refuse to grant a license if he is satisfied that the applicant does not meet the necessary requirement. The license, according to the proposed regulation, will be valid for a year. A second document has surfaced from the desk of the Minister of Agriculture, appointing SICB to issue license to import and export sugar. According to BSI, the new regulations gives SICB inordinate and disproportionate power to, quote, interfere with the routine operations of a private sector business, such as deciding whether it is a business in good standing and whether it should be issued with an annual license to export sugar, unquote. Furthermore, BSI says the requirements outlined in the regulations to obtain the license are, quote, intrusive, unreasonable, disproportionate, and harmful to BSI's commercial interests, unquote. BSI ended the release stating that the company is examining its options and is considering challenging the validity of these regulations. Following BSI's release, the United Democratic Party issued a statement of its own, voicing concerns over the manner in which the new regulations are being brought forward. The UDP says, quote, laws and regulations should only be implemented after robust consultations with sugar industry stakeholders, where consensus is built. This act by the Briceño government and Agriculture Minister Mai goes against sugar industry norms and is not only arbitrary but dictatorial. The UDP demands the Briceño government reverse course and implement regulations that foster an enabling environment for cañeros and investors, unquote. We spoke with Hugo Pat, the deputy party leader, on his party's release.
Basically indicates that their understanding is that this regulation will be tabled in the House of, at the next meeting of the next sitting of the House of Representatives. But they themselves have concerns over that, and they're saying that they will challenge this, more than likely they will challenge it in court, I would assume. But that gives you an indication, Paul, that, look, if you want to introduce any kind of legislation, any kind of, or if you want to amend any kind of law, I mean, you must have a buy-in from all stakeholders. It cannot be that, as a government, you will say, look, I want to do this because I want to do this. I mean, you're talking about an industry. No, you cannot be arbitrary or arbitrary in the things that you do. And so this is the concern that BSI has.
And in terms of the opposition concern on this, I'm gathering if something like this is to be presented before the House, that the opposition would reservedly not support it.
Right, because you need to have open and frank discussions. You need to have consultation with all stakeholders, and so once the stakeholders agree, then you go ahead and present it. You take it to the House.
What would you, in your opinion, suggest is the motive here? Is there some sort of vindictive undertone given ongoing negotiations between BSCFA and BSI?
I would want to think that has a factor to influence the decision by this administration to take such arbitrary actions.
We will bring you more on this in tomorrow's newscast. The once thriving citrus industry in Belize has been declining over the years and is now hanging by a thin thread. There has been a significant loss of jobs, and some farmers are diversifying their investment to other crops. Last week, Prime Minister John Briceño met with stakeholders who are proposing a bamboo industry in the south. Today, Stand Creek West area representative Rodwell Ferguson threw his support behind a proposed bamboo industry in southern Belize. Minister Ferguson says that the citrus industry is almost deceased.
I was born and grew in Laguna Valley. When I was a child, it was like a town because it was the heart of the citrus industry. Over the last 15 years, we started to see a decline of the citrus industry. That caused people to move away from the region and then go to look where employment is. So like now, most people are moving to Silgrass where the companies has moved, and so people look for opportunities. If anything new comes, then you'll accept it because there's a complete decline of the citrus industry. This year, I can remember when I was working at the company, it peaked 8 million boxes 1 year. This year, it will be less than 1 million boxes of production, which is totally dismal.
Do you think there would ever come a time when we would lose the citrus industry, like it would no longer exist?
Well, it's about almost to cease. Because if you go through the valley right now, everybody push on the citrus to plant coconut or to plant pineapple or something, but they're coming off oranges completely.
Last night, we told you that 39-year-old radiologist Desmond Arzu has been charged for the crime of sexual assault. The charge stems from a complaint that was brought against him by a patient back in March. The 23-year-old alleges that while attending clinic in Punta Gorda to undergo an ultrasound, the radiologist sexually assaulted her. The Ministry of Health and Wellness has since issued a release condemning sexual misconduct and assault by those entrusted in their care. The ministry noted that the medical practitioner is employed with the ministry and that the alleged incident took place inside a private health facility. Now that a charge has been levied against the radiologist, the ministry also says that it has written to the Ministry of Public Service to request that the doctor be placed on interdiction. Back in March, Kevin Bernard, the Minister of Health and Wellness, told reporters that his ministry is taking the allegation very seriously.
All I will answer to this letter at this point, and I take it very seriously, all my comment will be at this point is that I have asked the Director of Hospital Services to take swift action, investigate. Of course, there's a process. This specific doctor, while it was his private clinic, works with the Western Regional Hospital. And so, because of the allegation, and we have to claim it as an allegation first, but it has to go through the Public Service Commission. That has these complaints have to go to the Public Service Commission and the Medical Council. And so I will leave it at that for now until I can get more, until that can take its necessary due process. I cannot really make any further comment. But all I can say is that we take that allegation very seriously, and we are going to ensure that we act swiftly. If it points out to be true, then all the necessary actions will have to be taken.
It's been a week since the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Transport has been working under a new Chief Executive Officer, and Minister Rodwell Ferguson says that everything is better. Adele Katsim Sanchez, a former CEO under the Barrow administration, was appointed and took office on May 8th. After Marconi Leal Jr. was reassigned as CEO under the Ministry of Human Development, Families and Indigenous Peoples Affairs. The shift comes as a result of the fallout between Minister Ferguson and CEO Leal Jr. The reason for the discontentment, however, has never really been revealed. But here's what Minister Ferguson had to say about the renewed environment at the ministry.
I appreciate her coming. Number one, she is very experienced and she understands the whole public sector system. So that makes life easier for myself. When we started initially, the former CEO maybe come from BTL, never understand maybe the public sector system. But when she come in right away, she understand and she said this is what we're supposed to do and we understand each other. So I really believe that myself and Ms. Adele will have a good working relationship for the betterment of the ministry. I don't know how you classify her, if she's a PUP or a UDP. I know she's an experienced person.
She is a former
to get the job done.
CEO.
It doesn't matter. Under the previous PUP administration, there were also people who classified to be UDP CEO. But once you get the job done. I'll give the Prime Minister his due process. He told me, he said, Radbell, at midterm in office, you can't bring in a new CEO who is green to the system. So I will find somebody who is already experienced, so right away we are get the ball rolling. So I think so far, no kickback. We have a very good relationship, we understand each other, and we are going forward.
Coming up, Raheem Reed is charged for shooting at a police officer and injuring another man in Price Alley. And unsportsmanlike conduct on the football field. The FFB launches investigation. Find out the details of these stories when we come back.
Hello friends, I'm Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." Methodist evangelist Billy Sunday often told the story of a Christian who got a job in a lumber camp where the workers had a reputation for being ungodly. A friend, hearing that he had been hired, said to him, "If those lumberjacks ever find out you're a Christian, you're going to be in for a hard time." After a year, the man returned home for a visit, and while in town, the friend who had predicted that he would receive ridicule and persecution from the workers in the lumber camp asked his friend if they had given him a hard time because he was a Christian. He answered, "Oh no, not at all. They didn't give me a bit of trouble. They never even found out." How sad that so many seek to be secret followers of Christ and allow their identity with Christ to be made known only on Sunday. Maybe the world would be a better place to live and Christianity would be more highly regarded if Christians carried their Christianity with them into the workplace and streets of their towns and villages by letting their light shine brightly. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
Years ago, I decided to provide respite care to young Jose who lives at the children's home. So now during the Easter, summer, and Christmas holidays, he would come and spend time with me and my daughter at our home. Sometimes he even comes on weekends. We try to engage in as many fun activities as possible, giving him all the care and attention he deserves. Even though he is with us only part-time, he has become part of my small family, and we always look forward to spending time with him during the holidays. I could not have been happier to have made this decision.
Contact the Department of Human Services and find out how you can become a foster or adoptive parent and be that heart of gold.
Desde las áreas urbanas hasta las comunidades rurales, la conexión importa. El acceso a Internet es crucial para continuar el desarrollo social y económico. Es por eso que Digi, nuestra telecomunicación nacional, continúa invirtiendo millones de dólares para expandir sus redes de telefonía móvil y fibra óptica en todo Belice. Miles de usuarios móviles y viviendas, especialmente a lo largo de las carreteras y en comunidades rurales, ahora disfrutan de los beneficios de la infraestructura resiliente de Digi. Nuestra telecomunicación nacional continúa liderando la transformación digital a través de su tecnología avanzada y compromiso a la excelencia. Con DigiWallet, beliceños en áreas urbanas y rurales tienen acceso fácil y seguro a una amplia variedad de servicios financieros a través de sus dispositivos móviles. Y con el reciente lanzamiento de DigiTV, nuestra telecomunicación nacional se ha convertido en el único proveedor de servicios de reproducción cuádruple en Belice. Clientes ahora pueden ahorrar con nuestros paquetes DigiOne que ofrecen internet residencial, servicios móviles, teléfono residencial y servicios DigiTV convenientemente en un solo lugar. Digi permanece comprometido en brindar acceso a servicios de alta calidad, confiables y accesibles y crear oportunidades para un mejor futuro. Forme parte de la transformación y viva la conectividad como nunca antes. Porque con Digi, la conexión importa.
Tonight, Raheem Reed, a delivery man of Belize City, is on remand at the Belize Central Prison after he was denied bail on arraignment on a charge of use of deadly means of harm upon Kenroy Eligio, with the use of a firearm and for aggravated assault with a firearm upon Raheem Neal, a police officer. Reed pleaded not guilty to both charges, and he was remanded until July 17th based on the gravity of the offense. According to police, on Sunday, May 14th, they were alerted of a shooting on Victoria Street. When they visited the KHMH, they saw Kenroy Eligio of Lucky Strike Village with gunshot injuries to his left arm and a graze to the left side of the abdomen. Police say that on said date, Raheem Neal, a police officer, was standing in his family yard in Price Alley when he heard gunshots and noticed a man whom he knows shooting at a group of persons who were socializing in front of an open lot in the alley. Neal, who was in uniform, repeatedly drew his weapon and opened fire at Reed. At the same time, he heard gunshots coming from the opposite direction of Price Alley and Victoria Street, and saw another man shooting in his direction. Officer Neal said he returned fire and the man ran towards Victoria Street. By that time, Kenroy Eligio, who was standing in a yard opposite of Victoria Street and Price Alley, was shot. When police visited the scene of the shooting, they found 7 expended shells. 18 Brazilians who were charged with immigration offenses appeared in the magistrate's court late Monday. They pleaded guilty and were fined before being ordered to leave the country upon settling their fines. In the meantime, 4 of their children have been placed in the custody of the Human Service Department until all of their removal orders have been fulfilled. The Brazilians, whose occupations range from engineer to grocery bagger, were caught last Friday after they had crossed the Mopan River in Benque Viejo. They were all fined $1,000 each and default 6 months in prison. Authorities allege that the Brazilians uttered false visitors' permit stamps. Prior to their guilty pleas, 9 of them told the court that via a translator that they were duped into thinking that they could have traveled through Belize in their attempt to reach the U.S. The 14 men and 4 women indicated to the court that after this experience, they want to return home. But they have expressed interest in visiting Belize legally in the future. The Football Federation of Belize has expressed concern over 3 brawls that occurred during football matches over the weekend. In the Cayo district, a fight ensued between the members of 2 senior men's teams from 2 separate villages. Amateur footage of that incident shows members of both teams physically attacking each other. There are also reports of a physical altercation during an FFB male under-20 match and an under-17 match. A release from the Federation says, quote, "The FFB categorically condemns any acts of violence or aggression within the football community. As the governing body for football in Belize, we firmly believe in the values of fair play, respect, and sportsmanship," unquote. In light of these incidents, FFB says it is launching a comprehensive investigation into the matters falling under its jurisdiction. The Federation says it is committed to uncovering the full details surrounding these brawls, including identifying the individuals involved and gathering the evidence. Minister of Sports Rodwell Ferguson had this to say about the matter.
I don't know, because every time there's an event and it is official, then that organizer has to go and get police security. And the police will determine how much security you are sending to that particular event. So unless the event is just a friendly game and is not properly sanctioned, and then there is no security, then something has to be addressed there. Because once there's an official event, then it must apply for police security. So I don't know what we're really talking about.
The House of Representatives will meet on May 19th as the government of Belize seeks to bring its financial legislations up to par with international standards. Friday will see the continuation of debates on a suite of amendments. We have been reporting on the Caribbean Financial Advisory Task Force mutual evaluation exercise for the past several weeks as the Briceño administration works to meet its end of June deadline. News 5's Paul Lopez takes a closer look at the exercise and its importance to Belize's financial sector. Here's that report.
Approximately 10 financial legislation amendment bills have been brought before the National Assembly over the last 8 weeks. The Briceño administration has been pushing these amendments through Parliament to avoid a repeat of the 2013 de-risking nightmare. The Caribbean Financial Action Task Force is leading the charge to ensure that Belize's financial sector complies with international standards. The Belize Anti-Money Laundering Committee is the body responsible for providing the recommended reforms to satisfy international standards. Lene Yesigiri Magan is the director at the Financial Intelligence Unit and a member of the committee.
It's the 4th round, which really means it's the 4th time that we're being assessed by the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, which also means that there will be a 5th because it is a process that repeats itself. And there is a particular focus with each assessment. So in the 3rd round, there was a lot of emphasis on whether or not you had laws and systems in place. And the 3rd round was meant to prepare us for the 4th round, where they would also be looking at laws and systems because it is acknowledged that these things do evolve, change, and reform. Therefore, we've identified areas in our laws and framework that need strengthening.
The end goal is a robust financial system working in tandem with international monetary agencies to combat the financing of terrorism, as well as the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. In 2013, Belize suffered an international black eye after failing to address deficiencies in its laws. Its financial sector was blacklisted by the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force. At the time, former Prime Minister Dean Barrow did not take kindly to the decision.
The big countries are hypocrites. They don't practice what they preach. They tell you what you have to do. They talk about harmful tax competition. They talk about this, they talk about that. They talk about knockoff counterfeit goods. At a place near New York, Canal Street, Chinatown. The point is that in passing the legislation that we did, we had to try to steer a careful course. We recognize that these big countries and that their proxies, their agencies, are all powerful and can collapse our system. So we can complain, we can denounce them, but the fact is that ultimately we have to recognize where the power lies.
To put things into context, according to an economic impact study done by the United Nations, at the height of de-risking, 3 domestic banks lost 90% of their corresponding banking relations between 2015 and 16. As a result, customers faced unprecedented challenges in carrying out US dollar transactions. Customers were paying almost double the amount to do business. Many importers and exporters were unable to execute transactions from Belize. With the exception of one institution, Central Bank and all other commercial banks were unable to provide US dollar check clearing services. Prime Minister John Briceño is now attempting to avoid the same fate in this 4th round of CFATIF's mutual evaluation exercise.
Here again, you have a clear example of why we said that the UDP administration was incompetent. Well, either they were incompetent or they just did not have the capacity to get this important work done. And what was the result of their incompetence, Madam Speaker? Well, the result was that this was part of the reason why we lost 80% of our corresponding banking relationship. Sound technical compliance with the FATF recommendations is critical for the continued smooth functioning of Belize's commerce and economic activity with our partners in the international financial system.
The possibility of further de-risking looms in the event the current administration fails to address the legislative deficiencies identified. Nonetheless, Magan says Belize is on pace to meet its obligations.
I can tell you it's 40 recommendations, each with different criterion that we have to look at, and each criterion has different aspects. So the analysis is really meticulous and detailed, and it has to be robust to ensure that we're complying. And that's part of the reason why we are where we are now. Notwithstanding, I don't think that as a jurisdiction we should let that deter us in terms of trying to meet our objectives and trying to get as prepared as possible for the different milestones along this evaluation process.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
After the break, Lebeha drummers to release sophomore album entitled Biama. But first, here's the weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
Brian was preparing his canoe to go to school. Every day, he had to paddle more than 1 kilometer to get there. It had rained all night and the river was very high. His mother had recommended that he should be careful since the current was strong. He was about to start rowing when he saw his father coming back from fishing, and although he was glad to see him, he was worried, so he decided to approach him to talk.
Hello, son. Good morning. Are you ready to go to school?
Yes, Dad, but I saw that you looked worried. Is everything okay?
Yes, son. I didn't catch anything while I was out fishing. Some time ago, you knew that in some months the sea was calm and other times it was strong. But now with the changes in climate from time to time, we no longer experience this clear difference. You no longer know when it will be a good time to go fishing. Also, the water is so warm, the reefs out here are all white, and of course, all the fish have gone looking for cooler waters.
Oh man, I am so sorry, Dad. Hopefully tomorrow you can have a better catch.
Brian said goodbye to his father, feeling sad for him and not knowing how to help him. It was difficult for him to cross the river since the current was very strong. Upon arriving to his school, he noticed that none of his classmates were there. He thought it must have been because of the strength of the current, since he knew that most of them lived far away.
Brian, good morning. I thought I would have no students today. The river current was very strong.
Good morning, teacher. Yes, I almost didn't make it. The current was very strong, and it's just starting to rain again.
Yes, Brian, the weather is crazy. Just last week the sun was very hot, and now it has been raining for almost a week. The weather is mad. Look, Brian, I can't teach classes just for you. So if you want to go ahead with the homework for next week, you can do that. It's going to rain anyway. You can't go home right now.
Look, teacher, maybe instead of classwork, you can help me solve a question.
Let me know what's your question.
See, my dad told me today that he couldn't catch anything. He says the sea is getting warmer and the fish are going elsewhere. Do you know why that happens?
It's because of something called climate change, Brian. Many of the things that are happening now are because of that, and they cause more than what you said. Corals are dying too. The increase in rainfall, the severe seasons of drought and heat, the warming of the water in the oceans, the increase in sea level. All of that has to do with climate change.
But why is my dad the only one affected? Well, I don't see that climate change is affecting you or anyone else in town.
You know what? Just because of what you just said, I'm going to give you an extra task.
Oh no, sir! Please, teacher, don't be like that!
Look, when it stops raining, go downtown to talk to people and ask them how their business is doing and write down everything they tell you, and we'll review it tomorrow, okay?
Okay, teacher.
Brian waited for hours for the rain to stop. He didn't know exactly what to ask the townspeople. He was nervous and worried, thinking climate change was something bigger than he thought and could affect more people.
We're also, of course, very grateful for the strong support that we have received from the principals, the teachers, the students, and the communities of the 6 schools. We've added 3 additional schools, so there are 9 schools, I think, and we're reaching, I think, over 800 students daily who are being fed under this program. So we now have 9 schools participating in the program in Corozal, Orange Walk, and the Belize districts. The Ministry of Education is deeply committed to supporting this important initiative, which complements and enhances our government's, our Plan Belize National Healthy Start Feeding Program.
In tonight's episode of Culture Tuesday, News 5 looks at the Lebeha drummers of Hopkins as they prepare for the release of their second album, Biyama, on Friday. The collective has been busy recording new music at Stone Tree Records, and today, Isani Cayetano sat with celebrated drummer Warren Martinez to talk about his childhood in the coastal community, as well as his love for Garifuna music. Here's that story.
The timbre of the segundo is the soul of Garifuna music. Each drum beat conjures up a spiritual experience that is heightened by call and response that harken back to Africa. As a child growing up in Hopkins Village, Warren Martinez was fascinated by the distinct sounds of these percussion instruments.
Growing up in Hopkins, I grew up with my grandmother, my cousins, my aunt, my uncle. It's just one big family. So growing up in Hopkins, it's all Garifuna. In my neighborhood, all the older people was playing drums every day. It's paranda, punta, chomba. Then we normally have dance groups that they take to the resort. So I was just a little boy growing up, and I always, listening to these people playing, singing, and then every day, it just attracted my soul. And you know what? I was gonna try play drums.
Warren began experimenting with various patterns on pots and pans inside his grandmother's kitchen, much to her chagrin. Soon enough, he discovered that he had a knack for rhythm. In due time, others in the community learned of his unique talent.
What inspired me is when I continued, I said, wow, I can roll. I said, yep. So from rolling, from playing, experience, then Jabbar called me, because a lot of people knew that I was a good drummer already, but I was still shy.
Jabbar Lambe, by all accounts, is a virtuoso. The master drummer quickly took young Warren under his wing and helped him to hone his skill. Eventually, Warren joined another budding musician, Clayton Williams, popularly known as C. Wills, as part of a new Garifuna collective known as the Lebeha Drummers.
The knowledge that I get from drumming, it takes me all over the world. I don't have to be in Japan, but my picture and my music is already in Japan. But my main focus is to make sure that I travel and I teach my music to the world. It's not everyone that knows about Garifuna music, so it's good that whenever we perform Garifuna music, we represent it at 100% as it's gotta be.
Together, the trio has recorded and produced its sophomore album, aptly titled Biyama, 2 in Garifuna.
Biyama is the album that we record at Stone Tree Record. It is myself, Jabbar, and Clayton, aka C. Wills, right? Everybody know the man. Yeah, so we have traditional songs, we have original songs, and then we also have instrumental songs. This one, Biyama, it gives us a different vibes, because the first album that we did with Lebeha, we were still young. We were still young, the vocals, the lead vocal, we were still squeaking. We wasn't singing, we were just squeaking. But now we have the professional voice, we traveled and we know exactly how the lead vocalist, and backup vocalist. So we know all of that now. So we put Biyama now to a level of Garifuna music that is supposed to be going out, straight out, and make it happen for Garifuna music as well. All right, just like how Watina went, so we want Biyama to do the same.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
80 alcaldes and deputy alcaldes from 40 Maya villages in southern Belize were engaged in training on their duties as local magistrates under the alcaldes jurisdiction of the Inferior Courts Act of Belize. The alcaldes are elected by Maya villages and appointed by the Attorney General. Elections took place back in January and commenced the 2-year tenure for the alcaldes and their deputies. And so the training spoke to criminal and civil jurisdictions of the alcaldes court, including proceedings and procedures of the court, as well as dealing with witnesses, appeals, and natural justice. News 5 spoke via Zoom with Pablo Miss, the executive director of the Julian Cho Society, who also provides technical support to the Toledo Alcalde Association.
There were 39 alcaldes jurisdiction in the Toledo district. Earlier this year, the Attorney General recognized an additional alcaldes jurisdiction, which is Jordan. So we now have 40 alcaldes jurisdiction in 40 communities in southern Belize. Every 2 years, the alcaldes in each of these communities change leadership. And this year, 2023, 80 new alcaldes were then elected to serve for the term 2023-2024. As is the tradition, it is important that the alcaldes are properly informed and equipped to undertake their duties under the Inferior Courts Act. And with that, we normally collaborate with the Attorney General's ministry to undertake that training. On May 10th, 11th, and 12th, the Attorney General's ministry, through one of their Crown Counsel, conducted a 3-day training session for the 80 alcaldes in these 40 communities. The alcaldes of the Maya communities has always been about reparatory justice. And this is why we pride ourselves to be very peaceful, very caring, very hard-working communities, because the aim has always been that everybody in community participates in ensuring that there is equilibrium of peace in the community. And if that is ever to be disrupted, the alcalde plays a central role then in restoring that equilibrium so that there is peace amongst neighbors, amongst community members, and that we have caring communities. There are bigger crimes that are committed in alcaldes jurisdictions, which are beyond the alcalde's authority. And this is why the training is very important, because in those instances, what the alcalde does is basically support the Belize Police Department in ensuring that that the scene might be maintained, that the police are informed quickly. There are instances where they help to detain. But really bigger crimes such as robbery, such as perhaps, let's say, people chop themselves, or more serious crimes as such, the alcaldes have no jurisdictions over that, but they do provide support to the Belize Police Department.
Joining the alcalde system on April 23rd of this year was Jordan Village, which is located in proximity to Santa Teresa and Blue Creek villages in the Toledo district. Alcaldes have a Maya customary jurisdiction that is part of the ancient and traditional way of life. These are practices that have served the Maya people for generations. But aside from the alcaldes and their deputies, there is also the village council system, or local government, that also plays a part in the day-to-day running of the village. So, who has the final say, the alcalde or the village chairman? Pablo Miss says that while both have distinct roles, it's the Maya communities that have the highest authority.
The alcaldes and the village councils are not necessarily the owners of the community, which is often how leadership in other spaces is seen. In essence, what that means is that they must follow the will of the community. On the ground, in practical terms, the village council takes up the responsibility of administering the day-to-day needs of the communities that might be related to putting in place some rules, some policy, let's say, for instance, related to animals and crops, land use. But all of this emerges from the instruction of the community. The alcalde takes up the responsibility of convening the community. So, for instance, in many of the Maya communities, a village council would find it very difficult to call a public meeting, a village meeting. without the help of the alcalde, because the tradition is that the alcalde uses his or her village police to inform every member of the village that there will be a meeting and the purpose of that meeting. If there is, for instance, the violation of a community rule, and that community rule might be overseen by the village council in terms of its implementation, that everybody is following it. If it is violated, then the matter comes to the alcalde. The highest authority is the village meeting. An alcalde may take up a decision without consulting with the community. The consequences of that will be that the community then deliberates on what actions to take in terms of sanctions against that alcalde. And similarly, is the case for village council. So it's important to emphasize that the community is the highest authority for decision making.
On Wednesday, the media is being called out to Laguna Village in Toledo District, where a press conference will be held. We know that there has been conflict over land in the area, and while we spoke with Pablo Miss, we asked for an insight into the event. Here's what he had to say.
I think it's important for Laguna to speak to the media and to Belize through its own voice, through its own people. And really, I think that is the aspiration of Laguna for tomorrow. So I will not divulge what Laguna, I will not speak for Laguna, but I am aware that Laguna has called for a press conference tomorrow. I think it's a space that they truly expect the media to participate in so that they can also put their voice out there. The only thing that I would say is that it's important to ensure that we take charge of our communities, of our lives as Belizeans. We have a role to play in the development of this country. There is so much that Belize can offer all of us here, but we have to be able to participate in the process of building the Belize that we want to build. And I would think that tomorrow Laguna's aspiration is to speak to the rest of Belize on their humble efforts. So I'll say that much, but I'll leave the rest for you to listen to the Laguna leaders tomorrow.
When we return, Stan Creek West Area Rep discusses the possibility of a bridge from Independence to Placencia.
This Mother's Day, celebrate that special woman who holds your family together. Start her day off right, complete with love and smiles. But why stop there? At Brothers Habet, we believe in celebrating moms all month long. We're offering big discounts all throughout May, like 15% off all Moen kitchen and bathroom faucets and accessories, 15% off all Penta paints, and much more. And for the ultimate Mother's Day gift, purchase any Penta paint during May and get a chance to win big. Every week, we're giving away $100 to a lucky mom, and at the end of the month, one lucky mom will receive a grand prize of $1,000. Give mom the gift she truly deserves from Brothers Habet. Happy Mother's Day to all the super moms out there, and we hope to see you in store soon. When designing your kitchen or bathroom, you want fixtures with functionality and style. Showcase your decor with these kitchen and bath fixtures, keeping in mind that the finish is the start of your design. Choose from our wide selection of Delta, Peerless, American Standard, and Easy Flow, available at Benny's, quality and savings.
It's good to keep the environment clean. BSWAMA, step up the pace. They're going places to manage your waste. So make we stand and make well sure. No garbage left on the seashore. The whole of Belize we stay clean, cause we know say worth much more. We have pretty environment. So when you see the garbage on the ground, go after me and just faggot and
Cleanliness has always been second nature to us, so let's work together to keep our surroundings beautiful and healthy.
no garbage in it.
Sign up for Smart Share Plan and save big. Whether you're a small entrepreneur starting up your business, a student on a limited budget, or a family trying to save, this is the plan for you. With unlimited SMS, calls, and data, we help you save. Get up to 5 lines for as low as $30 per line monthly, only with Smart. Sign up today at any Smart showroom or sales manager countrywide. So get your business going, share more memories with friends, and be ready for the day with Smart.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benqueviejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
Is a bridge linking Placencia to Independence coming soon? Today, Stan Creek West Area Representative Rodwell Ferguson confirmed that a proposal is in the making for the construction of a causeway and bridge linking both villages. Discussions have already been had with the Ministry of Infrastructure Development. In fact, engineers visited the area and the estimated price tag is in the tune of $35 million. Ferguson says that his hope is for the project to be well underway within the next 2 years. He explains the economics and environmental considerations behind the proposed project.
When I look at the situation between Placencia and Independence, imagine if I live at Independence and I want to drive to work every day. I have to drive 50 miles around. I'm only 3 minutes across. And so I'm adamant to find the funding to fund a bridge from Placencia to Independence. The bridge will be 0.8 of a mile, and then we'll have to build road at least a mile and a half to get across from one side to the next. Imagine you have 6 school buses leaving the Placencia Peninsula every day, go all the way around to Independence. So the kids have to wake up at 5 in the morning. If a bridge was there, they wake up 7 o'clock, get to school on time. So that is my intention as a representative. I'm hopeful that I will accomplish it before the next 2.5 years, at least make a start on it.
So do you anticipate any pushback from environmentalists?
Well, I say that is part of it, the cycle. So we have to go to the environmental department and apply and do your ECP, whatever the case may be. They will determine at the end of the day if it is feasible, it should be done. But it's basically a bridge across the lagoon that will definitely have more benefits. For example, the amount of emissions that we have to travel all along from Placencia to Independence on a daily basis, it's already polluting the airspace. Every single morning, at least 25 buses come from Bella Vista, from Georgetown, from Malapan, going to Placencia every day. If we can divert the route, there will be less time and less emissions. The potential cost based on the engineer we took there will not be not more than $35 million to construct the bridge and to build the causeway. So we are all looking at all the figures and figure how can it be done and when can it be done. But we have investors already lined up who want to come and do it.
Today, 16 students from Standard 2 to 6 at the Calvary Temple School received football jerseys as the school aspires to enlist the team in a football competition being organized by the National Sports Council. Calvary Temple School is located at the far end of Regent Street West in Belize City and has a student population of only 94. It's a small institution that is in need of assistance, and so the call for help was answered by the Director of the Department of Youth Services, Kevin Cadle, and by extension, the Ministry of Youth and Sports. It was all bright smiles this afternoon as the handing over took place.
Calvary Temple will have to poor schools in Belize City if they don't even have any yard space, so I don't know whether they will play football, but it's a good initiative to reach out to our disadvantaged young people. So I support it 100%.
How important is this to what your ministry does as promoting sports? No?
The ministry is Ministry of Youth, Sport and Transportation. There are three critical departments in the movement and development of this country. Our young people is 68% under the age of 29. So we have a very youthful population. So we must find a way and a solution how we can provide for them.
I am the coach of the school's football team, so I approached the director, Mr. Cadle, and he approached the minister for some jerseys. So that came to fruition. Okay, I got a full set of jerseys, pants and shirt, so I must be grateful to the minister for that generous donations for these. The students of Calvary Temple School, no, they don't go much, they don't do a lot of sports, so I'm trying to get them out to expose them to participate competitively in sports in the Belize District tournament.
Minister Ferguson has pledged that he will speak with the Minister of Education to assist the Standard 6 students as they transition to secondary school. Shondaland, an American television production company, has done a feature on U.S. Ambassador Michelle Kwan in which the U.S. diplomat spoke highly of Belize. And responding to the question about what it is like to live and work in Belize, Kwan said, quote, "I could definitely see why Belizeans and others refer to this country as the jewel. I've been so impressed by the diversity. It has a large youth population, and it has a long tradition of democracy and respect for different cultures. There is an extraordinary amount of biodiversity that can be found here, from the marine to terrestrial ecosystems and its forests and mangroves, which play a huge part in combating climate change here. My brother and his family just visited. We went snorkeling. It has the second largest barrier reef. It almost looks too beautiful to be real," unquote. The U.S. diplomat said that she thought it remarkable to be able to connect with Belizeans. She said that she has the opportunity to engage with people from all walks of life through her work. Speaking to her ethnicity as the first Asian American woman to serve as ambassador to Belize, Kwan said she takes the post seriously and that representation is something that she tries to live by, whether it's fighting for more diversity or women's equality. The feature also puts Ambassador Kwan on ice in her previous career as a professional figure skater and an Olympian, before taking on her current role as a diplomat for the United States. Since retiring from the sport 17 years ago, the two-time Olympic medalist and figure skating Hall of Famer told the televised show that she fell in love with ice skating at the age of 5 and became competitive at age 7. Speaking of the hobby, Kwan said, quote, "It was the only thing I could really think of for 20 years. Everything I did was to see how I could be the best athlete that I could be," unquote. Kwan shared that international diplomacy and international athletics have a lot in common. They both require hard work and practice to represent your country on the world stage. Both require a universal commitment to fair play. Up next, the Audubon holds its annual general meeting in Crooked Tree.
Hola usuario de eCash, la aplicación eCash está disponible en español. Cambiar el idioma de tu aplicación de eCash de inglés a español es rápido y sencillo. Déjame mostrarte cómo se hace. Primero, abre tu aplicación eCash. Introduce tu PIN. Toca el icono More en la parte inferior de tu pantalla. Selecciona Security. selecciona Language y luego selecciona Spanish. Vuelve a introducir tu PIN y ya está. Tu aplicación de eCash está ahora en español y puedes seguir disfrutando de tu cartera digital eCash. La aplicación eCash de Belize Bank te hace la vida más fácil.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited Postpaid Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
The Belize Audubon Society held its annual general meeting recently. The non-governmental organization dedicated to the sustainable management of Belize's natural resources was established in 1969 and is the oldest conservation organization in the country. The NGO manages 7 protected areas, covering approximately 180,000 acres of the National Protected Areas system. This year's AGM was held in Crooked Tree Village. Here's that story.
Annual General Meeting of the Belize Audubon Society. We're hosting it at the beautiful Crooked Tree Village today, one of the first wildlife sanctuaries in the country, designated in 1984. And today we basically come together to celebrate the work of the society that was completed in 2022. We did a little recap of the year, looked at our finances, and endorsed our slate of board.
Today, the village is hosting the first day of the Cultural Fest once again, so there's added cultural activities to enjoy. I join Darius, and on behalf of the staff and board of directors, to welcome you to the annual general meeting for 2023. I've been president for a while now, but as I said earlier, we're still in that process of recovery after COVID-19. That set us back for about 2 years when we had to reduce operations, but more so, our operations depend on the funding from entrants and from grantees. And they, as part of the global economy, also suffered. So what happened to them affected us in the long run. So we, like some organizations, our staff took pay cuts, cut in time and all that kind of thing. So 2 years after the fact, we're now approaching some degree of full operations, but the finances are not there. The visitations are not what was expected, and even when they come in now, they're going for a different package. So it's very good that we are able to have an annual general meeting. Since 2019, we didn't have a face-to-face one, and as usual, getting into one of the parks helped people to renew that commitment. We therefore look forward to expanding on what we shared today, and as usual, Crooked Tree is an excellent place to experience nature.
All right, we're going to take our board members for a short little birding. This time of year is a very time for you to come and see the birds. the water level is low, and you would get much easier for you to see the birds. For example, the jabiru stork is easy to see, the great blue heron is easy to see, and lots more other birds.
Okay, my name is Ngozi. Yes, I really have a lot of fun with the Audubon Society, and I joined the Audubon Society in 2009. And since 2009, I have been going to different AGM and different activities in different areas, part of Belize. And at first, I didn't know the booby birds, what their feet look like, but I have seen it live now. And through the Audubon Society, I also learned about the different birdings, that we have different kind of birds. And it has really been exciting and encouraging. It encouraged me to do more. And being a tour guide, it also helped me to be able to expand my knowledge in sharing the information with different tourists that come to Belize. And it's been a joy and been a lot of fun to be able to share this information with them. And I enjoy it very much, and I'll continue being a part of the Audubon Society, and I will always encourage others to be a part of it.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at channel5belize.com, on our Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at Channel 5, have a good night.